Let's get into these sports with our favorite sports reporter. Turn it all the way up.
Everybody, listen up. Everybody, stop what you're doing and listen to
Alpha Male.
Yes, sir. You already know what time it is. It is me, he is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is, people. Friday. Good old Friday. Shouts out to everybody. What's going on, everybody? It's the Alpha Male here. I am excited, happy to be here, man. Happy Friday to everybody. It is March 24th, 2023. Happy to be here, everybody. Make sure that you guys, before I do anything or before I start every show up, I try to give everybody all the updates of what's going on with me, things of that such. So before we get any further, make sure you guys follow me on IG at AlphaMale Sports, all one word, AlphaMale Sports, all one word. If you want to get a little bit personal, you can always check me out on my personal page at Radio6_Raheem. Now, I got a little bit of news I'm pretty excited about. Really excited about. Last night, got in a little late, was trying to catch up on some last minute March Madness, which we will talk about a little later, not too long, probably the next couple minutes. But anywho, I have been accepted, or I'm in basically, to the Black Sports Business Symposium. Pretty excited about that. The Black Sports Symposium is it's an interactive way for Black sports media people to get acclimated with each other, network with everybody. Appreciate the hand claps, everybody. But yeah, man, I'm in. I am in. If you guys want to check it out, get a little more information, you can always check out the Black Sports Symposium at Black Sports Biz at BLACKSPORTS Biz. And this is the second one. This is the second annual. Last year was the first annual, and or the inaugural, if you will. And last year, when I tell you, it was really good. It was actually really cool because last year, what was interesting about last year, they had so many big names. You had Coach Prime last year. You had Rich Paul last year. A lot of big names and really interesting people to be involved in the Black Sports Symposium. And it's here in Atlanta. So, I'm from here. I live here. So it's going to be pretty simple for me to do so. And pretty excited about, being a part of that. Pretty excited about being a excited about the Black Sports Symposium and being involved in that. So moving forward, and you are listening to Alpha Male Sports. I am he is I, and I am him. All that jazz. It is me, the Alpha Male. And, of course, it's still March Madness, y'all. It's still March Madness. Last night was, in my opinion, I think one of the it continued. I ain't gonna say it was the greatest or the best or nothing like that. Nothing polarizing, but it continues. The NCAA March Madness continues. It's just been, what can I say? I got in on the last tail end of it. I'll say that. I got in on the tail end of a lot of the games last night. And just being completely honest, prior to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, it's very difficult to keep up with all the games that's going on. I know I wasn't looking to try to keep up with all the games in these first 64 and round of 32. But what I was able to get a hold of was really, in my opinion, the best games. The best games. Kansas State, Michigan State. Was able to catch the highlights of that game, winning the overtime. Really, I ain't gonna front. It was really an impressive game, not just by the Michigan State Spartans, because normally you look at somebody who loses and you be like, oh, well, they must have not done that well, or something might have happened, or they couldn't guard somebody. But this guy happened. Yeah. This guy happened to Michigan State. That's what happened. Okay. This kid, when I tell you, Marquise Noel, 43 minutes, 20 points, 19 assists, 3 rebounds, and an overtime win versus Michigan State. And what really did it for me, it wasn't even necessarily the game itself. I mean, I don't want to discredit how great the kid was these last 3 games. The last 3 games, he's averaging almost double-digit assists in the NCAA tournament. And then to end the game versus Michigan State with a steal and a reverse layup. The kid hit a reverse layup at the end of regulation, or at the end of overtime, to basically put a stamp on it, to put the final proverbial nail in the coffin. I mean, it was impressive. It was impressive, and this guy has been showing out these last couple of weeks. It's no wonder Kansas State is the number 3 seed in their side of the bracket. It's no surprise. It's no surprise. Michigan State was 21-13 on the season. Very good job. Be that you have a record like that. You know, normally when you have double-digit losses in the NCAA as men's, you know, depending upon your strength of schedule, you might not even make it. You probably be a bubble team. So for Michigan State to get as far as they've gotten to the Sweet 16, unfortunately falling to Kansas State, we see where Kansas State is, and I'm more excited to see where Noel, where Marquise Noel goes after this, because the kid was able to play in front of his friends and family. He's from New York. He's a New Yorker. This is a New Yorker's dream. Let me tell you, this guy, I hadn't seen anything like this kid since Trae Young went to the Garden. And I'm not trying to do any comparisons like, oh, he's the next Trae Young. No, I'm just pointing out, like, this is his coming out party. It seems like he's been showing out. And you know, after I looked at all of the highlights, because I wasn't able to catch the whole game, but catching the highlights of the Michigan State and Kansas State game, man, I have to say it was impressive, because, you know, Kansas State just kept cutting to the basket. Michigan State, if you watch the game, Michigan State just kept getting caught watching the ball, almost to the effect where Marquise Noel was basically kind of like toying with them. If you watch the highlights, he at one point towards the end of the game, he was fussing with his coach. He was looking at his coach like, "Coach, let me," you know, just the whole that whole deal. And then all of a sudden, a guy cuts to the basket, and then there's this alley-oop slam dunk. You know what I mean? It was just it was almost like he was toying with them. It's almost like he was toying with the kids. So very impressive. Unfortunately, like I said, Michigan State failed to Kansas State last night in the Garden, and that was and that's not even the toughest game. Big win by FAU. Big win by FAU, ranked number 9 in their bracket. An upset win over Tennessee, 62-55. Very impressive by FAU. They're headed to the Elite Eight, the very first Elite Eight in school history. So that is impressive. Arkansas took on UConn. UConn is still moving along. It's been said that this is arguably the UConn Huskies, arguably the most physical team in the tournament right now. They are already in a 4th seed. So I'll be interested in seeing how that progresses forward. I did pick Arkansas over UConn. I thought Arkansas was going to ride this wave, you know what I mean, to push through, but I was wrong. I'll take that. But the game that was more impressive, I mean, the game that got me, I'm telling you, like the game that, just caught my eye, and you know, again, I got home late, started watching, you know, what little left was on television. And when I tell you, I caught that final play, those final plays of the Gonzaga and UCLA game, I'm gonna tell you that was impressive. That was impressive. I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that game. The ending was really where it got where it got me. The ending of the game was really where I was like, all right, these kids are impressive. Amari Bailey, 19 points, but his performance was impressive coming down the stretch.
Only his turn. And Watson, their best defender. So their best defenders on the bench. Campbell, outside, Bailey for the lead. Got it.
Amari Bailey for the lead. Yes, that was after Gonzaga missed two free throws back to back down the stretch. UCLA was dead in the water. They were down by at least 8 points with about a minute and some change left in the game. Somehow UCLA mustered enough to take the lead with about 15 to 20 seconds left in the game. And then this happened.
Because you've also dominated the offensive glass. Chances are you'll get more than one opportunity. For the lead.
Yes. I'm telling you, it was a really good game. Really good game by both teams. Very impressed to see how this played out. Game winning shot by Strother. I mean, it was, again, great game by both teams. Gonzaga pushes past UCLA. They move on to the Elite Eight. And what's even more impressive is Drew Timme. Again, 36 points, 13 rebounds. I think he has like the most double doubles in NCAA history. He's making history. So history was made last night, of course, with Marquise Noel, 19 rebounds. That is a record. That is an NCAA record. I also want to point out that Marquise Noel, 2 games prior to in the round of 64, he also had 14 assists in that game. So these kids are playing. These kids are playing some basketball. Really excited again to see what the slate is for tonight. There's a host of games for tonight. Let's go ahead and tap in and see what we got tonight. We got San Diego State taking on Alabama at 6:30 today. We got Miami taking on Houston at 7:15, and we have Xavier taking on Texas. So that'll be pretty interesting. 3 seed versus 2 with Texas and Xavier, 5 seed versus a 1 with Miami and Houston, and another 5 seed versus 1 with San Diego State University taking on Alabama. So yeah, man, that's where we are with March Madness. How's your bracket doing? How is your bracket going so far? Because my bracket is busted. I think the last time I checked, it was about 77% or something like that. But that's all we are. That's where we are with that. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me, he is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male.
We don't have time for childish games.
Y'all boys gonna play Madden?
Okay, except for that one. Keep it locked. Alphamale.
All right, now. Earlier this week, I started to watch like this show. Side note, really random. Wanted to know if you guys have seen this as well. Swarm. This young lady has to be arguably the next best serial killer as far as like serial killer movies are concerned. And yeah, I want to give a warning. Make sure I'm not dropping anything that nobody has seen already. Go watch it if you haven't. It's on Amazon Prime, and I'm telling you, it's a really good one. It's really suspenseful. Just a little premise of the show. It's kind of like Swarm, which is a play off of the Beehive thing, with Beyonce and whatnot. Go watch it. Just go watch it. Y'all come tell me about it. Just go watch it. All right, now moving on. Got to talk about some NFL stuff from earlier this week. Got to talk about some NFL stuff that happened earlier this week. A lot has been made about a lot of the NFL players, and right now what's been going on, of course, is free agency. Free agency has been going on in the NFL. It's kind of calmed down. The Atlanta Falcons have made a lot of trades. Atlanta Falcons, as you can see, is my team. I got a coffee mug that I sip coffee out of. But I'm not gonna harp on the Falcons right now. Not gonna harp on the Falcons right now. And if you guys hear me sounding nasally or whatnot, the pollen is out. Pollen is kicking everybody's ass right now, unfortunately. But jumping along, man. NFL memo sent out to all of the NFL teams, letting them know that there is a non-agent that may be contacting teams for Lamar Jackson. The NFL urges all of the teams to make sure that you are only talking to Lamar Jackson, because remember, Lamar Jackson is only representing himself. He does not want anyone representing him. He's not allowing anybody to represent him in his case. Well, not a case, but in his pursuit of a contract with the Baltimore Ravens or any team in the NFL for that matter. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons have been rumored to have been interested in going after him. And we'll dive into what's been happening as far as quarterback is concerned, because now that the free agency frenzy as far as quarterbacks is concerned has kind of died down, we definitely want to make sure that we still pay close attention to the other quarterbacks that are either being drafted or the other quarterbacks that are still available, which is another quarterback that we got to talk about that recently retired. Tom Brady. We all remember Tom Brady, right? He hadn't been that long, just retired. Well, I don't think he's going to be returning to any NFL team or any NFL field no time soon. I think he has finally found his footing. It's just been announced that on Thursday, Tom Brady has purchased a piece of the WNBA franchise, the Las Vegas Aces. You guys can remember last year when he was deciding whether or not he was retired or wanted to come back, that Tom Brady was allegedly supposed to be going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then, of course, it's even been rumored that even in his retirement now, Tom Brady was supposed to go play with the Las Vegas Raiders. But anyway, people are expecting him to come back. That's not going to happen. But he did purchase a stake in the with Cam Newton, the thing with Cam, which was so interesting, is that everybody was so caught up on the fact that Cam Newton was throwing at Auburn's pro day. Cam Newton said that he was gonna, throw at Auburn's pro day, and everyone's like, "Oh man, Cam Newton's throwing at the pro day," and everyone's talking about, well, is he capable of being quarterback? Can he still play the game at a high level? Is he still capable of playing the game at a very high level? Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen. Mic check. Okay. All right, we back. So, needless to say, everybody was caught up with Cam Newton because they were saying that, okay, can he play at a high level? Is he still able to play, after 10, 11 years in the NFL, or 10, about 11 years now in the NFL, 7 with the Carolina Panthers, 2 years with the New England Patriots, another year, or came back to the Carolina Panthers last year. He did the whole that whole thing. But where we all miss the Cam Newton thing, we miss something very important. This is a very selfless Newton. This wasn't for him. As we can see, there was no media around Cam, and that was not necessarily by the media's choice. Cam decided to not speak to media, stepped away, did not address the media during the pro day, didn't address it not one bit. And I think the best part about it, because he was able to give his brother, Kalen Newton, who at one point was a teammate of the Auburn Tigers, a wide receiver, also at one point a quarterback for Howard University, then transferred to Auburn, then transferred to Missouri. And Cam Newton, really said, I want to be the person to help my brother into the NFL. He also helped a few other young Auburn University. So this was more of a selfless act than it was more so Cam's attempt at trying to get back into the league. But I think it was still entertaining for Cam to just kind of address people on his social media.
Tell me how these randoms keep getting jobs.
How do these randoms keep getting jobs? I'm gonna show you. I can't wait to show you. But Cam impressed. Cam impressed people. He was highly impressive at his day, at not his, but Auburn's pro day. Did a great job. I think the one highlight that a lot of people are getting is he was still scramble, still improvise with the ball, and launched the ball 50 yards down the field to throw it to his younger brother. So again, just really impressive. Major shout out to Cam Newton and all of that stuff. Speaking of pro days, you are listening to AlphaMale Sports. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the AlphaMale.
AlphaMale.
We got to talk about Jalen Carter. And of course, be that I am a devout Falcon fan. You can see it here, my mug. I am interested as far as where Jalen Carter, defensive lineman from the University of Georgia, unfortunately was involved in a speeding accident, a drag racing accident that took the lives of one of his former teammates, and we got to talk about Jalen Carter. Atlanta Falcons earlier this week spoke out and said that they were not going to go after Jalen Carter, even if he were to fall. But how dare you? Mic check. Mic check. We on? Check, check. I think we on. Check, check. So anywho, I think we on. Yeah, we on. But anywho, with the Atlanta Falcons, man, they said that they weren't going to go after Jalen Carter, and I get it. I get it. I get it. It seemed to. All right, here we go. Can you hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Somebody give me a thumbs up in the chat. Anywho, we're back. And we're talking about Jalen Carter here on AlphaMale Sports. Had to work through a couple technical difficulties. But the Atlanta Falcons stated they were not going to go after Jalen Carter in the draft. He's a first-round draft pick. Defensive lineman, something that the Atlanta Falcons we need a defensive lineman. Somebody that can control the defensive line, somebody that can control the line of scrimmage. And the Falcons said that they're going to pass up on him. Now, the thing is, there have been some character developments when it comes to Jalen Carter. It's been some character development issues, if you will. An NFL source tells the Falcons tells ESPN that the Falcons, they say they're not going to go after him. There's concerns of him being mature and that he could be fit. Now, you guys remember during the draft or during the combine, Jalen Carter came to Indianapolis, finds out that he is in some kind of legal trouble, has to go down to Athens, has to leave the combine, go to Athens, handle himself, turn himself into the police. Once he's done, turned himself into the police, he goes back, returns, but doesn't participate, says that he's going to save himself for the pro day. We get to the pro day, 10 pounds overweight. They say that there's some character issues there, but my question to you all is that enough for the Atlanta? We want to pass on it because the thing is, we are in dire need of a defensive lineman, and this is possibly a once in a lifetime draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons at this position. And so here we are again. For years, the Falcons have been begging. Well, fans have been begging the Falcons to get a splash player at quarterback. They don't do it. They're sticking to their guns. Then they're saying, okay, well, let's get a splash player at this position, at defensive lineman. But nope. Character issues. He's overweight. We don't know if he's going to stay true to this. And it's an investment. I know that sides of the coin here because it's an investment by the NFL, by the Atlanta Falcons. If we can't trust you to handle yourself accordingly, to be ready for what is arguably the most important job interview of your life, and you show up 10 pounds overweight with a case on your head, and I think they did say that they weren't going to press any charges or go forward with any criminal charges, but he did get charged, I think, with a misdemeanor. But you got all of these things piled up against you. The least you want to do is come correct. You want to come with everything, just ready. And unfortunately, the way things set, it doesn't look like the Atlanta Falcons want him. I know he's going to go somewhere. I'm just afraid of what could happen if we pass up on him and he becomes a once in a lifetime talent.
AlphaMale Sports. Where sports and entertainment collide.
All right, y'all. Now, before I get up out of here, I have to, get with you guys about I caught online. That was Michael Irvin. We all know about the situation from the Super Bowl. He was, if you haven't seen the video, do see the video. Michael Irvin, duties by NFL Network, and all of the other stations that he works for, ESPN, all that other stuff. At the Super Bowl, he was relieved of his duties. And they said that it was under the pretenses of sexual assault. I want you guys to take a listen to Michael Irvin and his explanation of the situation.
You know, I get a couple of texts all day from the guys that I work with, and I do miss working and everything. This is more than just work. You know, I'm in between big businesses here, businesses that are with and for each other. But when you get called in a room and somebody tells you, "Hey, pack your bags, go home." I said, "Why? What happened?" Well, you said you assaulted somebody. So who? When? What? If I was in my room, well, don't worry about it. Go home. We'll talk. Wait, you're telling me I'm doing something, and I do not know what I'm doing. You can't tell me to just go home. Game hard. I played the game physical. You guys know we all worry what happens with our brothers, and we now know about CTE. I'm saying, how can you say I'm doing something and I don't know it, and you tell me to go home? I couldn't go home. Steve, you know, they put me in a hotel, in a Marriott, and they watched me. I'm in the staff for 3 days. 3 days to make sure that I wasn't doing anything crazy. Make sure that I was okay. No.
And you got to think about that. How embarrassing is that? How embarrassing. You are and you know, he brings up CTE, which I know everybody automatically kind of runs to when you see a player or a former player from Michael Irving's era. When you see a player like him with a situation like that, the whole CTE, and they said that he sexually assaulted someone. He was like, "Well, let me see the tape." And they're like, "Well, no, don't. Well, if you're telling me that I did something, I need to be sure about this." And I like how Michael Irvin approached this situation with, he was humble, he wasn't arrogant, he wasn't quick to say anything, he wasn't like a lot of my generation media and the issue is here. You know, this isn't our problem, if you will, but it is. It is. This is your problem, Marriott. This is definitely your problem. We all remember the situation where he was relieved of his duties. Irvin said in his lawsuit that the video shows that the woman went over to him to introduce herself. She wanted to speak to him. She was a fan. A witness described the interaction as jovial and completely harmless. Again, I say, if you have not seen the YouTube video, go online, just type in Michael Irvin, Marriott's or whatever, and you'll be able to see it. But yeah, immediate after the allegation was made, Irvin said that his interaction with the woman lasted less than a minute. It was friendly. It was a friendly conversation, and he was extremely baffled by the situation. I hope Michael Irvin gets every last penny of his $100 million lawsuit against the Marriott. I hope he gets paid everything that he deserves. He did not. I saw the video. I still do not believe that that was him. He wasn't doing anything. He had his hand behind his back. Like, his whole disposition was not in a sexual. Man, I don't know. I don't know how this just went so crazy. But anyway, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the AlphaMale, man. I'm glad to be able to deliver this to you guys, man. Make sure that you guys tap in with me on all of my social media sites. You already know what time that is. You know, if you want to get personal with me, radio, the number 6_Raheem on Instagram. If you want to check me out on Instagram, that's AlphaMale Sports, all one word. AlphaMale Sports, all one word. And you guys can check me out on YouTube. at AlphaMale Sports 88. AlphaMale Sports 88. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Peace.